He abolished the Senate and then the consuls later on as well. And he stayed there for a number of decades, and then he was dislodged by the Ostrogoths, and they were again dislodged ultimately by the Justinian armies. Here we have the first 4 trumpets. If we go to look at 5 and 6, and I told you 7 is time. These are consecutive. We're looking at a period well after 476 AD. And so we come to the next 2 trumpets, and I'll put it to you respectfully that these 2 are directed towards Byzantine Rome, Eastern Rome. And let's have a look at it. John sees in vision, he sees the 5th angel sounding. And he says, and I saw a star, and you need to pick this up right from the word go. I saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth. A star here, as becomes very self-evident, the star here is an angel. It is an angel. Now, when I talk about an angel fallen from heaven, by the way, the Greek grammar does not say that he sees him falling from heaven. He sees a star that had fallen from heaven. Can you see the difference? This is very important. It's quite specific. You can't mistake it. And so he sees a star, he sees an angel that had fallen from heaven. Do you now get my drift? Okay, this is very important. In the book of Isaiah, you find a record, in fact a very statement, how you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. Ever read that statement? You can go to the 28th chapter of the book of Ezekiel, you find a similar account. You can go to the 12th chapter of the book of Revelation, and there as well, it is told in tremendous detail that Satan, Lucifer, was expelled from heaven. In fact, Jesus commented on this when he said, it's recorded in the Gospels, when he said, I saw Satan falling from heaven. Because he, as Michael the archangel, threw him out. He was there. And so we are dealing with a fallen angel. And that can only mean one particular person, as the Bible describes it in various places. Now, this is fascinating, and this is a must for understanding if you are to understand the rest. And so he says here that to him, that is this angel that had fallen from heaven, whom we have provisionally identified as Satan, as Lucifer, the fallen angel, to him, to Satan, was given the key to the bottomless pit. Okay, my trousers are falling off. I'm losing a lot of weight. My wife is putting me on the diet. She's very hard on me. To him, that is to Lucifer, was given a key. Now, what does a key in your mind stand for? Control. Yeah, control. I like that. Opening a door. You control whether you can go in or out. Isn't that true? You can unlock. So he now was given the capacity which he did not have before. He had not used it. There is a key. He now has been granted authority to unlock the bottomless pit. Now tell me, how deep is a bottomless pit? Very deep. I always tell the story because I like it myself and I tell it so well. Listen to me. When I was that high, I used to love digging holes. Yeah, in the ground. I don't know why. I hate it now. You can't get me to do it. And I had a little friend who always followed me around, and we were digging away, and he said to me, now, you know, how long will it be before we get to the other end of the world? Because we knew the world was round. And I had no idea. But I always felt compelled to come up with an answer. So I said, 3 days. He said, oh. And he believed me. That would have been a bottomless pit. Is that true? the bottomless pit in spiritual terms is a belief system, is a spiritual state without any foundation. It has no bottom, it rests on nothing. Can you see that? The Hebrew uses the physical with the spiritual, or to explain the spiritual. So he's now been given something that is not holding truth. It's not holding truth. The key to the bottomless pit. Some commentators have believed that this key pertaining to Islam might have been the weakening two forces in the area, Byzantium Rome fighting with Persians, the Sassanids, and they did. And whilst Byzantium Rome did win, it was a relative hollow victory. They were very much weakened, which opened the way and made it possible for Islam to be so aggressive in its spreading throughout the Middle East. And they did. They did. And that's the same reason why they could take hold of Northern Africa. And so he opened the bottomless pit. Now I want you to see what John the Revelator is describing. As he sees it, he is reporting it. Smoke arose out of the pit, like the smoke of a great furnace. Smoke, like a great furnace. Now look at the next statement. So the sun and the air were darkened. The sun and the air were darkened because of the smoke of the pit. I think that speaks to our imagination. The sun, the light, the truth is obscured. That's basically what we're dealing with. And it becomes hard to live there. Then out of the smoke, and this is fascinating, locusts came on the earth. Now we all know what locusts are. Yeah? If you are from farming background, I'm not. But if you were, that means trouble. Because what do? They undo all your hard work, don't they? But these are not really locusts. It's a figure of speech. And to them was given power as scorpions of the earth have power. Now scorpions are very different little creatures than locusts. You don't believe me? Try to sit on one. Locusts can harm you. They can make you feel pretty sick if you get a proper sting. No doubt about it. So these locusts are clearly not ordinary locusts. In fact, that becomes very clear as we progress. It says here that out of the smoke, locusts came upon the earth. And in fact, it is interesting that there was actually a 8th century, what shall I say, Spanish monk who actually identified the symbol of the locust with the Muslim Arabs. He already saw, and many other commentators have, the way they spread, and by the way, you had tremendous locust plagues in those places. So it was a very apt and a very suitable figure of speech. Many commentators have agreed with this man Beatus, who was actually one of the early missionaries to Switzerland. And so he identified them with it. It's interesting if you look at the next statement. Now, they were commanded not to harm the grass of the earth. What do locusts do? Anything that is green, they'll have it for breakfast, lunch and dinner. But here they are commanded not to do that. I want you to see the language. It will help you to place it. Or any green thing or any tree. Clearly, these are not locusts, literally. Definitely not. And so, he goes on to say that the locust, but only those men who do not have the seal of God on their forehead. So the locusts were not to harm the grass. They were not to harm the trees. But only those people who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads. The forehead is what you believe. True? Now what is the seal of God? There is a precedent of this statement, the seal of God, in chapter 7 of the book of Revelation. The seal of God I will put to you is the